Exactly. All right. Play me a little music. All right. Get started for y'all. Little countdown. Let folks roll in. Getting ready. What's up, folks? Sliding in. We got the countdown. Make sure y'all hit that like, drop a comment, subscribe, and hit that notification bell on your way in. Let me actually post that here in the chat for y'all. All right. Give it a few minutes. Let folks roll in, y'all. This should stop. All right. I'm gonna add some music after. Give it a couple minutes till we get started. So, yo, it's your boy, the insurance junkie, your fiduciary fella, the all-star advisor Alonzo Hall. And I've returned today with another Socioeconomic Sunday. So, as you know, this is from ADH Wealth Solutions book readings. And today's book, or this week's book, is Family Wealth Transition Planning. I've actually added the Buy Me a Coffee link so you guys can donate to the cause, or you can cash at me to donate to the cause so I can purchase more financial books to read to you guys. The reason it's a cool thing in me reading the financial books is because you're getting the perspective of someone who actually works in this field and who understands a lot of the concepts that are in these books. Why do I say that? Well, oftentimes you'll get even licensed financial professionals who will read from these books and things because it will increase their clientele base. And because the average consumer doesn't understand a lot of the ins and outs of these products and services, what tends to happen is you think, well, because he read the book, he has some kind of a basis of knowledge on it. Whereas what truly happens is, that's why I give my commentary while reading. So as opposed to reading, to set up an infinite banking policy, you need to have an agent who understands it. Well, that's true. But I'm going to tell you that before I read the book. And I'm going to tell you before I get into the article or the strategies that the book has, the strategies that I understand. And what happens is it coincides with the strategies generally of the authors of the book, because I understand and have actually done these things in practice. A lot of agents haven't, which is why, certain concepts can be dangerous. So, without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, make sure you hit that like, drop a comment, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you're made aware every time I release new content. And as always, share. Lastly, to contribute to channel growth, or to schedule an appointment with a licensed financial professional. The links are in the description of this video. So, family wealth transition planning. Advising families with small businesses. Written by Bonnie Brown Hartley and Gwendolyn Griffith. So, I'm probably just going to read, there's a 14 chapter book. I might just read a chapter a day to you guys. It's a pretty short read, to be honest. And, you know, as I do pause and do my commentary. Feel welcome to shoot any questions that you may have, and we will go from there. So first, what I am going to do, however, is read the foreword by James E. Hughes Jr. Foreword. When Bonnie and Gwen asked me to consider writing a foreword to their book on planning for families with business enterprises, hey Biz, what's going on, bro? I asked whether theirs would be a book not about family succession, but about family transitions. And y'all, bear with me. I do have a little bit of a common cold. I just got out the hospital. I got a regular cold, so I'm probably really nasal right now. Would it concern itself with exploring these issues surrounding the various stages of each individual, nuclear family, clan, and tribe that make up the nested systems of a family, and how those systems interweave with the life cycles of the family's business enterprises? Happily, as you will find, within the answer to both questions is a resounding yes. Why transitions and not successions? Within a family's long journey, there are not successions as there are between reigns or dynasties. Rather, a family's life is a series of lineal transactions over a long period of time, a series of linked lives and systems. Hold on, folks. Let me blow my nose. I'll be right back. Because this cold is kicking my ass with this damn plant. Sorry about that, folks. So where was I? Oh, it's a pretty long forward. Oh well, that's all right. I started reading it now, right? So might as well. So, these transitions are glued together by the stories of the elder generations and the new stories experienced by the younger members of the family. One of the great wealth planning fallacies is that successions occur in the modern family. This book not only proves that they do not exist, but appropriately replaces the fallacious term successions with transitions. This idea coalesces with the natural flow of family and its enterprises, a flow that is gentle, evolutionary, and above all, consistent with human development as all individuals and families have experienced it. Why? It's distinguishing the issues connected to the life cycles of each individual family member, of each nuclear family, of each clan, of each tribe, and of each business enterprise, so important to the success of a family's long-term well-being, including the future success of its business enterprises. Each individual entity represents a singular complex system that is constantly evolving and adapting, at the same time being interwoven into the complex system to which all these entities belong. Hold on really quick, ladies and gentlemen. All right, sorry about that, folks. Had to respond to a brief call. So, where was I? Essentially, as Bonnie and Gwen teach us, if you plan only for the well-being of the business enterprise and not for the well-being of its owners, of the family, and of each of its members, your plan will likely fail. When you overlook planning, you miss critical current issues integral to each component's life stages. You miss how the resolution of those issues may well turn out positively for one component and negatively for the system as a whole. Salute, Rob. What's going on, brother? You will be surprised when the plan devised for the business enterprises doesn't evolve as anticipated, because changes to the individual parts that you did not see nor plan for occur simultaneously and blow up the plan. Equally risky, if you plan only for some parts to evolve, but not all, the plan may not anticipate and direct how those individual parts and components lead to the fusion of a family as a whole, so that the family may exist as something greater than the sum of its parts. Now, ladies and gentlemen, this is something, if you don't know, the brother here, Rael, who does not even have a channel, let me turn this music down a little bit, who does not even have a channel in a lot of these spaces, will often say, not only to men, but specifically black men, since we are of the black manosphere and we speak of black male agency, is that family is business and business is family. So if we want to look at the structure of our community and why it is in dilapidated situation, number one, we need to start propping up our business class. And we need to value those who do specific things. Prime example, if I am a licensed cosmetologist, meaning I can do hair and shit, then that's who I go to do hair. But if I'm a tax advisor and you have a business doing hair, you do hair and let me do the taxes, right? Because that's what I got my license in. I don't know about the occipital bone or how to make your hair look great. I don't know about how to massage you, right? I don't know about how to cook a pot roast to the perfect perfection and get the mac and cheese and all that shit good and put it in the plate. But I know how to make the finances of businesses run. I know how to make sure that you charge the proper price for that mac and cheese. See, it only costs you $1 for each item, but you can't charge $4 for that plate of mac and cheese. Because it costs you $1 for the macaroni, $1 for the cheese, and then $1 for the plate. So you think I'll just charge $4 and I've made $1 because I only spent $3. But then you also spent the time, energy, and effort. So then you also need to be compensated for that. Then there's things like the lights and the gas and the electricity. At any rate. So, without a plan, it is all too probable, as the shirt sleeves to shirt sleeves proverb predestines, that the business family and its enterprises will die out in the entropy of fission or inertia, as nature fates all material things to do. The keys to grasping why the family system performs as it does are understanding the cycles of each component of the whole system, identifying which of the cycles of life each component is in and the issues the cycle represents, and perceiving what transitions are likely to be next. I have long hoped our advisory community and the families it serves would have a roadmap to these cycles and systems, and now we have it. Bonnie and Gwen have also given us important insight into the qualities an advisor must cultivate in order to become the most trusted advisor to a family and its enterprises. In my work, I define this role as a persona de confiance. As with the qualities that define a great family, a family that reaches its fifth generation in a flourishing condition and dynamically evolves from there, such advisors must be ever patient, must be ever able to adapt their plans to new visions. Shout out for the Cash App. Let's see. This is from Quaje the Abstract. Salute. Thank you for the support, brother. So, such advisors must be ever patient, must be ever able to adapt their plans to new visions and issues, must be ever resilient, since without this quality, no long-distance journey can be successful, must be ever skeptical, asking with complete objectivity why and what if, must be ever loyal, telling only the absolute truth, and never mistaking one's position as a serving professional as ever being a member of the family one serves. Must be ever prudent, so all that is confidential remains so, and above all, must be forever compassionate and forgiving for the human condition. These are the qualities that Bonnie and Gwen exemplify in their professional work, and that are coalesced with their vast experience in the wisdom in this book. A planner must exhibit these qualities if the family he or she serves and its enterprises are to flourish. Some readers may now be asking a question. I thought this was about how to manage a family enterprise and the wealth of a family. If it isn't, what is it about? My answer is that it's about managing a family's wealth and enterprise. But that is only a small part of the book. Bonnie and Gwen teach us that the true wealth of family is not its financial capital, but its human and social capital supported by its financial capital. So this, ladies and gentlemen, actually goes back to, again, like myself, Rael, K-Business Podcast, a lot of business-minded individuals in these spaces have been saying that family is business and business is family. So it says here that a successful family is one that goes 5 generations. So let's see. That's great-grandma, great-granddad, grandma, granddad, mom and dad, son and daughter. Oh, wait. So that's great-great-grandma and granddad, great-grandma and granddad, grandma and granddad, mom and dad, and then son and daughter. That's 5 generations, right? Now, we also know that generations generally lose their wealth by the 2nd generation. So let me continue into the book, and let's see what they say here. So, yes, fair use. Bonnie and Gwen teach us that the true wealth of a family is not its financial capital, but its human and social capital supported by its financial capital. They, as practitioners, have echoed what Roy Williams and Victor Presser taught in their book, Preparing Heirs. 70% of wealth transfer plans for family enterprises fail. Just like 70% of weddings or marriages fail, well, it's showing you here that 70% of wealth transfer plans fail. So it looks like part of that failure rate of marriages happens to be failure rate of families, because a marriage is a family. So we see that 70% of the wealth transfer plans are failing. So, and they fail because, as Bonnie and Gwen demonstrate, the family that owns the enterprise has no joint decision-making process at all. No workable governance structure. So, prime example, like I explained, I have a relative who owns a business. He makes all those decisions. I have no say-so in that. But being a family member, it might be a good idea, since I'm a financial advisor, to bring me in to do things like help your employees get employee benefits or help you on tax saving strategies. So instead of spending hundreds of thousands of dollars or bunches of time preparing your own taxes, when you have family members who literally work for the fucking IRS and family members who are actually licensed financial advisors, it might make sense to go to them just like they go to you to get their hair cut when they got alopecia. Instead of trying to be a I got it from the mud, did it all myself ass nigga. Unfortunately, especially in black families, this is where stuff falls apart. See, it's often at a critical moment in the family's and its enterprise's life cycles when the transition between owners individually or intergenerationally is taking place. And that is when the family's joint decision systems are at their weakest and least able to meet the challenge. The failure rate isn't, except in very rare cases, because of poor legal or financial advice. The plans fail because the human beings who make up the family are not thriving and growing as they should, and thus the social system they together represent is not thriving or growing. If the owners are in entropy, their business enterprises will soon find themselves there as well. Bonnie and Gwen make it clear how to identify and assess the state of a family's human and social capital, and then to appreciate how the condition of those two types of capital affects the family's financial capital and its enterprises. Well, prime example, if my cousin is the only one who owns the business and we're not all supporting that business, but then we want to go get a loan, how can we go ask him for a loan if he's in debt? Because us as a family didn't all support the business. Right? But then how can anyone in the family turn around and ask me for $20,000 to bail them out of jail when they haven't sat down and done any bit of support for me? Or how can someone ask me to donate to their GoFundMe when I don't even know if they were eligible for life insurance? Like, God forbid I died last night, I don't have life insurance. I know my family ain't putting a GoFundMe together because they haven't even had the conversation with me to understand that I'm uninsurable. I don't have life insurance because I can't get it. The insurance companies won't give it to me. But they'll just be ignorant. Well, he sold life insurance. He should have had a policy. Ask me how many of my own family members have had a conversation with me. Let's see. My 1, 2, 3. Those are my brother-in-laws. 4, my mother. 5, my uncle. 5 people. 5 fucking people. 6. My mother-in-law, because she rolled over her retirement account with me. Right? 6 people. But when motherfuckers die, they want me to come to the funeral. Oh, at my own expense. Yeah, fuck out of here, fam. And this is what these ladies are saying in this book, is in those transition points, that's where the family business structure fails. And this is just the forward, folks. But you know I got to add my flair to it. So, Bonnie and Gwen make it clear how to, So, as I hope you now appreciate, this book offers the advisor or family leader the means to learn how to evaluate the deep complexity of a business family system in order to comprehend how that family will best be able to own, grow, and transition an enterprise into a healthy, thriving organism. Let's be honest. Let's look at family businesses again, folks. Right? Let's look at what's that one where the guy killed his nephew or whatever for the little bit of life insurance money? Cookies or some shit? Well, that was basically a one-generation business. Now, let's look at a multi-generation business. Let's look at something like Heinz ketchup. because the Hines family is a multi-generation business. And let's look at transition wealth planning, right? Let's say the Hines have some relatives, because John Kerry, the guy who ran for president against George Bush back in 2000, he's married to the heiress of the Heinz ketchup dynasty. That's how he was able to get into politics, from Heinz ketchup. Oh, did you also know that the Heinz ketchup family owns the Pittsburgh Steelers football team? Wow. Not a quick flip, but that stays in the family for generation over generation over generation over generation. Kind of like the Lakers and the Buss family, right? It was Jerry Buss. Now it's Jeannie Buss. Jeannie Buss is in her 60s. But guess what? When she kills over and dies, the Lakers just go to her kids. They'll never work for anybody. Now, yes, they will go to college to understand the intricacies of business so that they can continue that business, but they ain't got to shut it down. The Lakers been around for years. The Coca-Cola company been around for years. McDonald's was not originally owned by Ray Kroc. It was owned by two actual brothers, but they sold it. And now McDonald's is a multi-billion-dollar conglomerate. So you have to understand that there needs to be someone who is ahead of the family to help you with this transition. Because as it says in this book, 70% of wealth transfer plans for family enterprises fail. So you hear of the Disney fame, right? You ain't heard of anybody outside of Walt Disney. Do you think that there are still some Disney family people walking around? Or let's look at like the DuPont paint family, right? I live here over by Yale University. Well, one of my next door neighbors, she is now divorced, but she was married into the DuPont family. She came to me, she says, "Hey, you're a financial advisor, right?" I says, "Yeah." She says, "Listen, I need your help. I need you to invest this $40,000 for me over the weekend. I'm going on for surgery on Monday. So I need this money to make some money for me over the weekend. Here's 40 grand. Put it in an account for me. And then Tuesday, when I wake up from surgery, I'll cash out." Family transition wealth planning. Because if she died under the knife, that 40,000 was already custodially sent to her son. And a multitude of other things. Right? So this ain't just life insurance, but this is the entire business entrance and exit strategy. Right? We just start a business and think our kids are going to go into it. Well, look, Bob, I'm glad you got a passion for banana pudding, but I've been eating banana pudding since a child. I have no passion for the banana pudding. I don't want to get into the banana pudding business. So you got to find an exit strategy. Or maybe you find a niece or a nephew who is passionate about banana pudding, but then you need to put contract that they're opening that banana pudding shop. We also have to stop depending on, because this particular family member is good with math, I'm going to put her in front of the financial advisor. Well, no, that's like me saying, well, my mom is good at braiding hair, so before I go to the barber to get my hair cut, I'm going to need you to talk to my mom because she's pretty good at braiding her own hair. She ain't a licensed cosmetologist. She don't know what the barber know. So anyway. So, as I hope you now appreciate, this book offers the advisor or family leader the means to learn how to evaluate the deep complexity of a business family system in order to comprehend how that family will best be able to own, grow, and transition an enterprise into a healthy and thriving organism. It helps advisors recognize that the true wealth of the family that they are serving is the individual members of that family. It guides advisors in helping the whole family system meet its natural life cycle transitions. It helps them discover the core questions they must ask as the family's persona de confiance. Will this transition plan I devised appreciably help the individual members, the family as a whole, and the family business enterprise to flourish? Will I help each and all members meet the challenges of the transitions their lives will present so that they can grow and thrive? Thanks, Bonnie and Gwen, for giving us a roadmap on how advisors can guide families that they serve through successful wealth transitions. And give me 1 second, ladies and gentlemen. I want to blow my nose one more time. I'm not going to read the introduction. I am going to start with chapter 1. Give me 1 second. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're enjoying the content, make sure you hit that like, drop a comment, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you're made aware every time I release new content. And as always, share, share, share. Lastly, to contribute to channel growth or to schedule an appointment with a licensed financial professional, the links are in the description of this video. Bear with me 1 second, ladies and gentlemen. Let me just take a quick pause, grab some water, blow my nose. All right. So I have returned. Now my nose is a little clear. So, chapter 1. Family wealth continuity. Why do some family wealth transition plans succeed while others fail? Why are some families more successful than others at creating and implementing a transition plan? Why are business families prone to poor wealth transition outcomes? What are the specific components of a transition plan for business families? How can family advisors help those families transition wealth? Is there a methodology for doing so that an advisor can learn, or must the advisor proceed on instinct alone? Sheep stay sleep. Salute, bro. And ladies and gentlemen, if you're enjoying the content, make sure you hit that like, drop a comment, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you're made aware every time I release new content. And as always, share, share, share. So these are the questions business families and their advisors face when they confront the issue of wealth transition planning. So yes, ladies and gentlemen, this is something I face very often, especially in my own community, the African American community, where businesses are at a low and generally we have a lower perception of ourselves. It is very difficult to even get in front of business owners. I'm having a difficulty actually having a conversation with a relative of mine who is a business owner. I'd love to be able to show him, hey, listen, I can save you $68,000 a year on your taxes. Right there. So if you're pulling let's say you're pulling 200,000, 68,000 now brings you down to 130,000. Your tax liability is that much lessened. But we haven't even had that conversation. Will we? I don't know. I've continued to try. But I've been continued to give ass to kiss. I'll continue to support and go get my hair cut because I got to do that somewhere. But at what point do you say, fuck it, strive on your own? Well, I don't want to do that because it's part of my family and I want the entire family to thrive. But as we're seeing here, 70% of them don't. And it's a struggle to talk to those black business owners to see why they don't even know about things like a buy-sell agreement, exit strategy. How many black-owned nail salons and restaurants have we seen that once Big Mama dies, the restaurants close because ain't nobody else taking it over? Don't nobody know the recipes? Things like that. Not even just the fact that the money may be available for the business to continue, but then it gets mismanaged. And they change things. So let's see. So the difficulty of composing a successful transition plan can challenge even the most resourceful and experienced advisors and the most tightly knit families. Family wealth transition planning is the methodology set forth in this book for advisors to follow as they guide families through the complex process of transferring wealth in all its forms within multi-generational families. What is a business family? Business families are those in which one or more family members, one, hold a significant amount of wealth in an operating business in which family members have an ownership stake. And two, participate in that business in some capacity other than that of holding stock in a publicly traded company as a passive investment. This book is proof of how blacks move so wrong as a collective. Bro, I think we were just having this conversation. I explained to you there's a restaurant directly next to my cousin's barbershop. The two guys there, one who lives one floor beneath me in my luxury high-rise apartment building around the corner from Yale University, asked me, hey, how's your cousin's business doing? I don't quite know. This is a Hispanic man. I don't quite know. He says, but you guys are relatives. You guys don't talk business together? He doesn't go over numbers? You're a financial advisor. I would think he would come to you with absolute immediacy. No. Every time we have an appointment, he misses it. Something came up. Oh, I forgot. Oh, I fell asleep. Oh, I want to talk to you in person. Okay. Yeah. At what point are my hands not tied? Hopefully he's watching. Hopefully one of the barbers are watching. Hopefully one of my family members are watching. If not too much I can do. What I can do is worry about my immediate family, but I'd like to look at my family as a collective, as a whole. Because I can make sure my immediate family is fine and go take care of a bunch of other families with this, like the Hispanic guys who own the two restaurants downstairs across the street from my apartment. Right? But a business family connection to an operating company creates special challenges in wealth transition planning, not the least of which is defining a successful transition. Right? Prime example, ladies and gentlemen, I've been trying to work with Jay-Z. Well, not Jay-Z, Jay-Z's cousin. He owns a hot wing restaurant that's in the Barclays Center called Buffalo Boss. Sheep Stay Sleep. I don't know if you ever been to Buffalo Boss. It used to be on Flatbush Extension, downtown Brooklyn, was one of the locations across from what used to be the Federal Building that's now destroyed. Right? Well, this guy, Jay-Z's cousin, had Jay-Z invest in his business. But when I was doing business with them back in 2011, I brought them Aflac. I brought Aflac Insurance to Buffalo Boss. They are now, they're close to J Street. If anybody's in Brooklyn. The only reason I pointed out Sheep Stay Sleep, I know he knows New York like that. But they're over on J Street, downtown Brooklyn, is one of their locations. Right? He said, well, exactly. Like I said, blacks argue with the financial experts in their group, while other groups of people listen to theirs and win financially. Exactly. Right? Prime example, Jay-Z knows nothing about the chicken restaurant, except that he put some money in his cousin's pockets. But guess what? His cousin is not the sole owner of Buffalo Boss. His cousin does business with a Hawaiian man by the name of Ronald Lee. And Ronald Lee is who I was doing business with. Because he was making the decisions, not Jay-Z's cousin. But we as blacks would believe, oh, Jay-Z's cousin is the main man in that situation because he's Jay-Z's cousin. No, Jay-Z is a silent investor, a passive investor. Other than that, nothing. So, let's go ahead. And let's see where we are here. So, The definition of success. So, traditional estate planning has not provided satisfactory answers to the questions that plague family wealth transition planning. As a field, it has focused largely on the technical aspects of transferring wealth, ignoring the larger issues of defining productivity and success. Tales of family members who fritter away their wealth, waste it in endless litigation, or never speak to each other again illustrate failures, but do not provide the answer to what success in family wealth transition planning truly is. So you can already see in my family, there's a failure in family wealth transition planning. I shouldn't have this saltiness about speaking to my cousin. He shouldn't have any issue coming to any of us for an investment in his business. Now, here's the problem. My family, I literally had one family member who was like, I thought you was broke. I was like, bitch, how? I work at the State Farm that you're late on your car insurance for every month. But see, if I say that to her, now I'm the asshole. Right? How? I know what you pay for your car insurance. I could help you save money, but you're too embarrassed. You think I'm judging you. No, what I'm trying to do is help you save some dollars. I'm going to look out for your best motherfucking interest. I'm related to you. It makes sense for me to look out for your best interest because if I screw you, I got to see you at Thanksgiving. But I digress. So, the emergence of new approaches to estate planning, which focus on family values and family harmony, have helped in the search for a definition of success. But these approaches failed to coordinate the technical side of planning and have left the advisor without a methodology for approaching a challenging family situation that will result in a practical transition plan. This is understandable. Family wealth transition planning is technical in the extreme, and families do not lend themselves to mechanistic approaches, especially Black families. We don't seem to like mechanisms. We seem to like to fly by the seat of our pants. Fortunately, there is a methodology to the process of creating and implementing a successful plan. It begins with the definition of success in wealth transition planning and with the recognition of that and with the recognition that client families are always in transition. Wills, naming a successor to the CEO of a family business, or creating a new LLC are examples of transactions that may be part of the larger plan. Without a vision of that transition plan, the isolated transactions may have unintended consequences that impact a family for generations. Prime example, right? My cousin, I no longer sit in his chair for my haircuts. It's not because I don't think he's the best barber, but I look at it like this. You're the owner of the business. You probably need to spend less time cutting hair because there's more shit you have to deal with now. Now that you have two locations, instead of being there on April 17th doing your taxes yourself, you hire a CPA who comes up with tax strategies, has you save tax money, I can help you save a minimum of $68,000 in one transaction that I know of. How do I know? Because I did it with a business owner client of mine who makes at least $200,000 on his own outside of the business that he owns. But there's also a thing specifically in the Black community where we have to wear our money. See, Negroes think I don't have money because I'm not walking out with a shirt that says Dior. But you wouldn't happen to know that that red shirt with no tags that just looks like something I got from Walmart is a Christian Dior shirt. And I paid $345 for it. But it doesn't say Dior, so you don't know that it's Christian Dior. It has no tags except the tag in the back that says Dior, made in Prague, or Hecho in Mexico, honestly. But little things like not knowing about who's going to take over the business, right? I don't think you should be cutting as much because you've got the nuts and bolts of the business that need to be worried about. Now, let's look at the transition of the business, because obviously you don't want to do the same thing your entire life. So who are you going to either pass the business down to or sell it to? Well, you do have a son. Does your son have the same passion for the business? Maybe he just wants to take over the books. Are you bringing him there to have him look at the books? Or are you just going to say, okay, you out of college now, take over the books? Because that's not what the Arabs do with the corner stores. That's not what the Chinese do with the Chinese stores that are in our neighborhoods. That's not what the Indians do with the liquor stores that are in our neighborhoods for 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 years. See, 20 years ago when I was 18 and Habibi was 12, and I would clown Habibi for not coming out and playing Pokemon cards with us. 20 years later, we're 32. Habibi now sells those same Pokemon cards. Drives whatever he wants. Does what he wants when he wants because he owns the business. Now, yes, he does have to put in work. But when it comes time for him to take a vacation, he can do so. He don't have to worry about anything because he has mechanisms in place. I digress. So, family wealth continuity. Wealth transition clients usually come to their advisor with specific goals in mind. These goals are usually expressed concretely in terms such as, I want to make sure my wife is taken care of, or I've heard you can avoid probate if. When listening to a client talk about these concrete goals, the advisor is usually categorizing them at a higher level of abstraction as benevolence goals, paternalistic goals, or administrative goals. The family wealth transition planning advisor, however, needs to take an even broader perspective than the client does on the definition of success. The overarching goal of family wealth transition planning should be a family wealth continuity. Family wealth continuity is a family's ongoing ability and willingness to make human, social, and financial capital available to its members at the right stage in their lives and in the right way. So, prime example, that same relative who owns a barbershop has a sister who married a man who's Sikh in religion or what have you, or heritage. Well, that Sikh father, being a family wealth transition, when they got married, bought his son and his daughter-in-law a fucking house. Right? Because he's like, wealth continuity. I want to buy you a house so you don't have to worry about busting your ass to get this house. So now you can worry about busting your ass to produce my grandkids. And you can instill into my grandkids. And hey, guess what? Since you won't have to be tied down to this payment of a mortgage for the next 30 or 40 years, 25 years from now, when your son gets married, you'll have the money to buy his ass a house in Miami, Florida. So, the overarching family wealth transitioning planning should be family wealth continuity, right? So, of course, it is impossible to define concretely, or even for a particular family, what the right capital is. And even if it were definable, a family's ability to make these transfers will depend on many choices made long before the capital is transferred. The way out of this quandary is to look to the three pillars of family wealth continuity. Number one, healthy family relationships. 2, responsible stewardship of family wealth in all its forms. Now, here's the problem, because I'm talking about my cousin's barbershop, but that's not the first business that's been in my family. This is how I know that family wealth transition planning is something that has been a failure. and specifically my family. We've had things like the Monterey, which was a nightclub here in New Haven, Connecticut. My great-great-grandmother was the first African-American woman in New Haven, Connecticut to own a home. Yet, many of my family are destitute, are living on public assistance, are living paycheck to paycheck. When I brought my wife's best friend here from New York City, and I showed her around and showed her project buildings and all these buildings and shit that had my family name, she's like, damn, your family runs this city. Yet those healthy family relationships weren't there. So the responsible stewardship of family wealth fell apart. And then the ongoing creation of a family legacy fell apart. You see how simple that is? Just took us all apart. So these are guideposts for a successful family plan. If a plan generates these outcomes, the family will be much more likely to achieve family wealth continuity. A plan that generates family wealth continuity will create an enduring structure to support a family for generations to come. So let's bring it back to my family. My cousin who owns this barbershop now, this has to be about 25 years ago. We were about 16. He worked at a barbershop that was literally attached to the building that used to be our family's nightclub, which now has been sold to other people and taken out of our family's ownership. But you know, everybody wanted to infight. Nobody had a will. We didn't have a trust. It was just, oh yeah, Cousin John's going to take care of that. Why? Because Cousin John is a paralegal for a law firm that does criminal cases, that doesn't deal with family law. Healthy family relationships. Based on her interviews with professionals in the fields of education, religion, healthcare, family counseling, and the nonprofit sector, Dolores Curran defines family as a group which possesses and implements an irrational commitment to the well-being of its members. In her research, Curran found 15 characteristics that describe healthy families. Pause, real quick. I want to say something, especially to my YouTube family, right? Because there's a lot of you who are actually family, it's being relative, right? You are more of a relative to me. You guys have promoted me to other people. You get nothing from this but the fact that you're promoting agency, whether it be black male agency, male agency, whatever it is. Specifically in this space, I'm talking about black male agency. I can't speak to anything else because I am not anything else. So all I can speak to is the existence of what I have. So prime example, if you ever get into an argument with someone and they say you pull the race cards, tell them, yeah, you're just upset that you can't, but you sure pulled the card that had us into this discussion. I actually had that. A guy told me I pulled the race card. I said, you pulled the disability card and you ain't even disabled. So yeah, I'm gonna pull the black card. It's uncomfortable because it's something you can't do. Stand on your square, folks. Give me 1 second. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're enjoying the content, make sure you hit that like, drop a comment, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you're made aware every time I release new content. And as always, share, share, share. So, in her research, Curran found 15 characteristics that describe healthy families. These include trust, a sense of play, shared responsibility, good communication and listening skills, respect for one another's privacy, a shared spiritual core, the ability to admit to and seek help with problems, and the teaching of right and wrong. It is important to differentiate between family health and family culture. Some families are reserved. Others are boisterous. Some spend a lot of time together. Others are geographically spread out, and their members don't see one another very often. Some families share a love of sports or the opera. Others seem to define themselves in terms of their shared entrepreneurial spirit. These characteristics do not define the health of the family, but rather patterns of behavior. Families with these shared experiences may have healthy or unhealthy relationships. Uh, Behavior alone does not measure the health of a family. Quajay says, we get knowledge, wisdom, and fellowship out of it. It's not for nothing. Well, I feel we definitely do get knowledge, wisdom, and fellowship, but that's part of what they're saying here is that a lot of that knowledge, wisdom, and fellowship seems to go out the window, right, Quaj? Like I'm saying, that knowledge, wisdom, and fellowship went right the fuck out the window with my family, right? These are people since, and this isn't like something that's new, right? When I'm talking about my family, there's no reason that my cousin's barbershop shouldn't be 20 years old since he got into, being a licensed barber. But we had one family house that's in danger of being lost. We had a business that was lost. So there was nowhere for him to get support. So even though we had that knowledge, wisdom, and fellowship, all we ever did was use it to go to Holiday Hill and kiki ha ha with each other. But we was all on Section 8, all on welfare, all on food stamps. These businesses that I'm talking about, bro, in my family has a history and a lineage in New Haven, Connecticut since the 1800s. Right? I want you to look up the owner of the Negro League Pittsburgh Pirates. It's a gentleman by the name of Gus Greenlee. Well, that was my great uncle. Right? So when I'm talking about these failures, I'm talking about from firsthand experience. Now, I'm sure y'all have experienced some of this too, and there's nothing wrong with that fellowship, but where do we take that fellowship, Quad? Because see, here, you guys are my family. This fellowship that we're getting, we're also learning from each other, right? So you're able to ask questions and be like, hey, ABC, XYZ. Now, that does not guarantee that I'll know the answer. But if I don't know it, somebody here in this space may know it. And we all share. And we're all spread out across the country. We're all spread out across the world. Right? I know dudes who are watching me from Thailand right now. You know? I got a client who just came back from Colombia. No wife, no kids. But guess what he's doing? He's putting together a family transition plan. So when he passes, his nephews and nieces are going to get a boatload of shit. But it's in a trust fund, so they have to meet certain criteria. So, it is important to differentiate between family health and family culture. Some families are reserved, others... Oh, I already read this. I'm sorry. Families build... okay, so... These characteristics do not define the health of the family, but rather patterns of behavior. Families with these shared experiences may have healthy or unhealthy relationships. Behavior alone does not measure the health of a family. Families build relationships starting with the core relationship triangle in any family, which is the parents' relationship with each child. Every family has a multitude of such relationship triangles, each alive with emotional activity. The degree to which those triangles function in a healthy way directly affects the overall health and well-being of the family. Healthy families thrive when parents communicate well with one another, help their children learn to become responsible adults, and encourage dialogue about even the most difficult subjects, like the inevitable death of family members. Creating an enduring family wealth transition plan requires the family and its advisors to focus explicitly upon the creation of processes and structures that will support healthy family relationships. Making choices based in part on whether they will support or undermine healthy family relationships may change the selection of legal transition structures. Leaving assets in trust, for example, may save on transfer taxes. Yet, if it undermines trust within the family must balance the advantage of saving taxes, an aspect of good stewardship, against the disadvantage of lost trust. Often, with the right plan, it is possible to support both good stewardship and healthy relationships. In fact, in family wealth transition planning, the impact of choices on the health of family relationships will feature prominently in the family's discussions with advisors. Stewardship of wealth. Historically, stewards have been administrators or official representatives for homes, ships, or estates who supervise the people, inventory, and activities associated with those assets. In the religious sense, stewards are dispensers of wealth whose purpose is to serve God. Thus, stewardship of wealth means the responsible administration, supervision, management, and use of resources such as time, money, people, and talent. It is more than ownership of wealth, as it requires a long term vision and a sense of responsibility, not just to legal owners, but also to all those who have a stake in the administration of wealth and the well being of the family. Stewardship of wealth includes, but is not limited to, structures for the transition of wealth between generations. Stewardship must be considered in the context of the client's values, vision, or philosophy of wealth, and goals related to the preservation, control, and use of that wealth, and the structures and processes that support the realization of those goals. It involves different processes and actions for each kind of capital, whether that be financial, social, and human. So, here, ladies and gentlemen, again, in my family, there were bad stewards. Why? Because, prime example, my uncle, who died in 1996, has a dance theater that is still owned by a woman who is not related to our family. But that LLC is still in existence. That not for profit that he had is still in existence. But guess what? None of my family is benefiting from it. Let's go further. Like I said, I had family in the roaring 1920s up to Harlem. My aunt, great aunt, is the reason that New York City subways have the fucking turnstile. She created the fucking turnstile. Yet, because of a lack of family wealth transition planning, we've all been having to scrape and scrimp. Bear with me, ladies and gentlemen. Let me go blow my nose. If you're enjoying the content, make sure you hit that like, drop a comment, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. Be made aware every time I release new content. And as always, share, share, share. I'll be right back. Okay. Oh, you want those, man? You're evil. I love it. I'm down. Well, let me know. Yeah, we can do that. All right. I'm back, folks. Sorry about that. So, I'm going. Thank you. Let me blow my nose, y'all. 1 second. I had to go get my my tissue. Oh, Jesus. So much better. Oh. The common cold. I haven't heard from the common cold in so long. But that's what I got. Common cold, right? So, ongoing creation of the family legacy. So again, this is why, I understand my cousin in his situation, because our family failed. They didn't put the transition pieces in place for us to be able to thrive. And this was 5 generations. Let's see, if we go back, this is more than 5 generations, right? But if you look at like families like the Hiltons, right? Families like the Trumps, right? Families like the Waltons, right? Families like the Johnsons, right? Let's do another family that y'all all know. The Morgans. Oh, who are the Morgans? Well, J.P. Morgan of J.P. Morgan Chase Bank. Did you know that he is the grandfather of Henry Sturgis Morgan? Who's Henry Sturgis Morgan? Oh, the founder and creator of Morgan Stanley Smith Barney Dean Witter We Buy Everybody. Family transition wealth planning. Do you think the funds would have been there, or the connections would have been there for Henry Sturgis Morgan to create Morgan Stanley if J.P. Morgan didn't put in place a process for the continuity of J.P. Morgan Chase Bank? I think not. So, ongoing creation of family legacy. In legal terms, any inheritance is a legacy. In this book, however, family legacy has a broader context. It is more like the legal concept of an endowment, or even the traditional concept of a birthright. A family legacy may certainly include financial assets, such as property, money, or even a family business. But it will always contain a strong symbolic element as well. An expression of the family's values as they have evolved through generations. A legacy speaks to what it means to be a member of a particular family. It also speaks to the responsibilities that are inherent in being a member of a family. Responsibilities to self, to family, and to community. The creation of a family's legacy is an ongoing collaborative process within the family, and the process is never linear. So, prime example, ladies and gentlemen, again, in my own family, we're one of the first Black families in New Haven, Connecticut to own a home. Right? That's a big deal. But as much as I mentioned the failure of my family to transition wealth planning, there are small successes. Remember, even the book says that 70% of family wealth transition plans fail. That doesn't mean that it's a 100% failure. There are usually failure points. So in my family, there were a multitude of failure points. And in Black families, there's generally a multitude of failure points. One thing that Black families are common in with family wealth transition planning is the ownership of real estate, if you pass it down properly. Part of passing it down properly is not just, hey, my family has this property, but you also actually do want to get things like life insurance because there's property taxes. So, prime example, my family was in a situation where we had the house, we own it free and clear. For over 100 years, my family has owned this house free and clear. But there was always someone living in it, maintaining it, and paying property taxes. Well, the older states people of the family had died off. They were in their late 90s, 96 when they died. Well, now, the younger older statesmen who are in their 60s and 70s take it over, but they don't have the acumen or know what to do, nor do they want to be there. Nobody's living there. The one family member we did have living there was on disability. Great. That's why we own the house in the family. So if anybody's in a predicament where they can't get something on their own, we got something for you. Problem is, we had no money coming in. So we couldn't pay the property taxes. So that house was about to be taken from our family. Luckily, we had another family member move in. Now he's paying rent, which is basically covering the property taxes. Now, had those other states people done like the Jewish community and done properly family wealth transition plan, maybe all of us younger people would have got together and 10 of us put $100 in a month for spend $1,000 a month on this 96-year-old woman to get $500,000 life insurance policy. She's 96. Ain't like she got another 100 years to go. So we know somewhere in that decade she's gonna die. And the 10 of us, if we put in $1,000 a month for the next 500 months, that would be the fucking $500,000. Honey God, what's going on? Right? So we also are multiplying our money. With a proper family transition plan, our family wouldn't have been in that position. Why? Because Aunt Charlotte's life insurance would have paid out, right? So since 5 of us were putting in 10 of us were putting in $100 a month, right? So that's $1 million. Let's say it was $1 million policy. Let's say it was a $500,000 policy, right? So you got $500,000 to split up between 10 people. That's $50,000 each. How long would it take? Now I got to do some math. I'm going to see how long it would take for one person saving $100 a month, that's $1,200 a year, to save $50,000, right? Would that be basically $1,000 a year, a little over $1,000 a year, right? $100 a month, $1,200 a year. So it take 50 years. 50 years. That's an entire lifetime. 50 years at $100 a month to get to 50,000. Whereas again, Aunt Charlotte was 90. I'm talking family wealth transition planning. What I'm talking right now, Henny, is in my own family, what having a simple life insurance policy could have done in terms of transitioning wealth for the family. My great aunt was 96 when she died in the family house. Right? And when she died, the house was paid off free and clear for over 100 years, but we were in danger of having the house taken from us as a family because we weren't paying property taxes. But the older statesmen in the family did a fucking horrendous job because till this day, those 70 and 80-year-olds now, they aren't speaking to us. We're the 40 and 50-year-olds. We need to know what's going on so we can speak up for the 20 and 30-year-olds and the 10 and 20-year-olds. Right? So yeah, that's family wealth transition planning. So let's see here. The creation of a family legacy is an ongoing collaborative process within the family, and the process is never linear. Legacies evolve over time. Families may leave the family farm, for example, yet the collection of memories the family shares about that farm and its history may continue as an important part of the family legacy, even for members who have never set foot there. Every family leaves a legacy to its members, consciously or not. Like I told you, right? That's kind of why I have that fighting spirit. My grandmother was one of the first few Black Panthers here. My great uncle was a gangster who owned the Pittsburgh Pirates, Negro League Pittsburgh Pirates. My girl is going through that right now with her grandma's house. Oh, wow. Yeah. Unfortunately, right, the property taxes, we do think, right, hey, I know real estate is a great way to generational wealth. I'm going to leave my family some real estate. Unfortunately, you didn't talk to a financial advisor who specializes in family wealth transition planning. So they didn't tell you, hey, you might want to look at a life insurance policy for more than just paying off the mortgage, because when you die, there's still going to be property taxes. And the state will take the property even though it's owned free and clear. It's been in your family for 100 years. This is the situation that happened with my family. So, one goal of family wealth transition planning is to make the legacy explicit and to ensure that the components of a transition plan support that legacy without entombing it for all time. As a part of their planning, some families include their legacy in a family vision statement or as a part of their governance system. So this is like when you hear trust fund babies, right? You know, they'll say, listen, I'm going to leave you X amount of dollars, but you need to reach this milestone. You need to graduate college so that when I leave you this money, you have some idea of what to do with it. You need to take a financial course. You need to learn accounting. You know, whatever it is that they put in there. Right? The concept of a legacy is intimately tied to the other two components of family wealth continuity: healthy family relationships and stewardship of wealth. For some families, strong family ties are the legacy. Members of these families can rely on each other no matter what, making sure that value is transmitted and supported over generations. It requires excellent stewardship of human and social capital within the family. For other families, the legacy will include financial assets, along with a strong commitment to charitable giving. These families will spend more time defining the roles of family members as stewards of financial assets and finding a common vision for philanthropy. Okay. I may have to pause, and I wanted to read the whole first chapter to y'all too. But I have Rogue Genius, what's going on? I'll keep going for a while. I wouldn't. Right? So, a systematic approach to family wealth transition planning. Central to the family wealth transition planning methodology described in this book is the idea that every client is a member of a family. Is that every client is a member of a family wealth system. Whether a client is an ambitious entrepreneur who has poured every dollar into a startup company, or is the owner of an established business worth tens of millions of dollars, that client is just one component of a larger family wealth system. The family wealth system is a complex adaptive system with the following characteristics that are critical to family wealth transition planning. The system is made up of a myriad of components and the connections between them. The system is open, allowing components to enter and exit the system. The system has a memory, so its current state depends on past events. The system has subsystems nested within it. The system is marked by uncertain boundaries. The system is emergent, i.e., it moves towards greater complexity and is marked by patterns created by feedback loops. And the system is adaptive in the sense that agents inside and outside the system can create changes within the system so that it adapts to new information or circumstances. So again, ladies and gentlemen, this is no different than what I tell you guys. You got to sit down with your advisor. You generally want to sit down once every 2 years and review. Even something simple as life insurance. Why? Because the laws change every 2 years. Guess what ain't the same this year as was 2 years ago? The price of fucking eggs. Right? Eggs went up in cost. So you think leaving generational wealth ain't go up in cost? It's like $10 for a dozen eggs right now. You think that casket still costs $3,000? You still think these agents who are telling you this bullshit about the average funeral only being $8,500 because the max life insurance they can sell is $25,000 is true? Average funeral is actually $21,000. Now, yeah, a lot of times people are getting it a lot cheaper, but they're not having the homegoings that they say they want or that they want to give, Aunt Sally. Right? Aunt Sally wanted to go out a certain way. Well, you ain't make it possible for her to do that. She ain't make it possible for her to do that. So, in the broadest sense, FWTP is a deliberate adaptation of the family wealth system to achieve family wealth continuity. Selected agents from inside and outside the family wealth system come together for the explicit purpose of adapting the family wealth system to help a family achieve its goal of family wealth continuity. There is, of course, no fail-safe recipe for creating family wealth continuity, just as there is no recipe for a happy family. But this book proposes a methodology that any advisor can use to assist any family, particularly business families. Oh, shit. Right? And ladies and gentlemen, if you're enjoying the content, make sure you hit that like, drop a comment, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you're made aware every time I release new content. And as always, share, share, share. Lastly, to contribute to channel growth or to schedule an appointment with a licensed financial professional, the links are in the description of this video. I hate having a cold, but let's get this shit out of me, all right? Go get me a cup of tea or something. So, there's a figure in this book which illustrates this methodology, which has 3 basic steps. Each of these steps must be connected to the overall goal of the plan, the creation of family wealth continuity. In step 1, the advisors to a family clarify their roles and responsibility in the wealth transition process. In step 2, the family and the wealth planning team set about understanding the family wealth system of a particular family. Specific aspects of a family wealth system reveal a family's needs, capacities, and constraints in the planning process. In step 3, the advisors and family develop specific components of a transition plan, each of which is designed to fit the particular family situation. Figure 1 distinguishes step 1 from steps 2 and 3, because step 1 is essentially about the advisor, not the family. Even prior to engagement by a family, advisors must clarify their role and understand how that role relates to the obligations of their profession. This clarity allows steps 2 and 3 to proceed with maximum potential for success. Despite the linear nature of the methodology depicted in Figure 1, much of this is a nonlinear process. For example, advisors and families will revisit initial goals from time to time, and new needs, capacities, and constraints will arise throughout the process. If the advisors employ the methodology outlined in Figure 1, however, the process will stay grounded in concrete objectives. So again, like I said, ladies and gentlemen, every 2 years you want to do a review because every 2 years the laws change. 2 years ago, a fucking gallon of milk didn't cost what it does. 2 years ago, a dozen eggs didn't cost what it does today. So, step 1, selecting the participants and clarifying their roles. In the process illustrated in Figure 1, an advisor begins by carefully choosing and articulating his role and the role of others on the planning team, as these individuals will be the agents of change in adapting the family wealth system. Chapter 2 discusses in depth the issue any advisor faces in leading or participating in a wealth planning team, identifying the client, managing conflicts, and ensuring an appropriate level of confidentiality. The often difficult and emotional process of family wealth transition planning offers many opportunities for advisors to step out of an appropriate role and into an ethical quagmire. So selecting the role that is right for the advisor as well as the client is a critical first step. A financially successful family will usually have developed professional relationships to help with its day-to-day legal, accounting, and management issues. Again, like I said, I have a relative who was doing his own taxes. Bro, you're a licensed cosmetologist. I'm a licensed financial advisor. I have literally the clippers that are the hottest shit for barbers right now. Baby Bliss by Conair. But guess what? I ain't a licensed barber. So this haircut that you see in my fucking picture, I can't do. I could chop all my hair off with the same tools as you. But that's not my lane. So stay in your lane, bro. But again, especially with black folks, we don't like to stay in our lane. We try to wear all the hats, which is why the businesses fail. Stay in your lane, let me stay in mine. I don't come to your shop and be like, hey, here. In fact, I did it once. I came to the barbershop with my clippers in a bag, pulled them out, the gold clippers. Cubs was like, well, what you doing with that? Nothing. You know why? Because he knows I'm not a fucking licensed barber, so I can't cut hair. So stop trying to do shit that ain't your field, cuz. It don't make no fucking sense. It's like me trying to go work on a car, nigga. I'm not a mechanic. Why would I do that? Anyway, I'm about to shorten this, y'all, because I do have some shit to go do. And I've been going for about an hour and a half. But we will continue to go. So the family wealth system at the outset of the planning process is a snapshot of the system as it exists at a certain time, and it will never exist again. Because the components and connections of the system are in a constant state of change, the system remembers events that shape it, but will never return exactly to its previous form. Although every family is different and every family wealth system is different, families share some common pathways of change. Individuals go through more or less predictable cycles of change and growth. Although some become stuck along the way, businesses as well often experience specific cycles of growth that can be analyzed and predicted. While these cycles are not universal in the sense that every individual, every family, and every business will experience each in the same way, the patterns are common enough that they form patterns of change that must be considered in the family wealth transition process. Cycles of change are constant, and change is often invisible to the participants. However, trigger events such as death, divorce, childbirth, or midlife crisis create the illusion that change is sudden and bring the impact of change to the forefront. BMBBH, salute, long live the habitual line steppers, right? Moreover, especially in business families, overlapping cycles of change can introduce major complexity, so family members often ignore them. The family wealth transition planning process must take account of the family's capacity for and constraints on meeting change and build in structures that increase the system's ability to withstand trigger events. Death, childbirth, things like that, right? Death, especially in black families, it seems to, oh my God, I was so surprised. Right? When that 16-year-old rapper died, all I saw on my Facebook page was niggas talking about, oh my God, I'm surprised you ain't got life insurance. Then I turn around and talk to half of these folks. Now, I ain't got life insurance. And listen, I sell life insurance. I do not have life insurance. But it's not from lack of trying. It's because my health, when they check my health at the insurance companies, they say, ha, pish tie, little nigga. We're not going to let you create generational wealth. You should have thought about it before you got unhealthy. I know you didn't know about it before you got unhealthy, because you didn't know about this shit until you were 27. At 27, you were already diabetic, overweight, and a smoker, and had other health issues like high blood pressure. So you were already fucked. But if family wealth transition planning was proper at 15 days old, yes, 15 days old, your family would have already put a policy on you, already had shit in place for you. Just like I tried to do for my cousin. Yo, let me show you how to make your daughter worth $500,000. Nah, cuz, I'd rather spend 5 racks on a fucking birthday party at Chuck E. Cheese. Okay. So then don't get mad at me when I get mad at you when I'm talking my shit. Because I don't really give a fuck about the occipital and all this shit. This is cosmetology. Nigga, I could go to anywhere. Like this, I can cut my own hair. But the same cousin that I was telling about crypto was like, yo, I've been doing crypto since 2017. Nigga, I've been on Wall Street since 2011. You don't see me going to our cousin Blaze, who owns the barbershop, telling him how to do this fade that I have in my picture. Because I can't fucking do it because I'm not licensed to. But I am a licensed financial professional. So family, it might make sense to listen. Just like some of our family are good cooks. You wouldn't go to my Aunt Jane for fucking catering because the bitch can't cook. But if you wanted a meal catered, you'd come see my wife or my mama because they can cook. I'm sorry, y'all. I didn't mean to go off like that, but that shit just makes no sense. And yes, I'm doing it from my own family. Again, my cousin shouldn't be in the position that he's in because our family had businesses over 100 years ago. Like I said, Google Gus Greenlee, the owner of the Negro League Pittsburgh Pirates. It was my great-granduncle. Why the fuck are we broke right now? Anyway. Families bring certain long-standing patterns of wealth behavior to the planning process. These patterns will have a fundamental effect on the planning process. Certain patterns of behavior relating to wealth often endure through multiple generations of family members. These patterns of behavior can create feedback loops, both positive and negative. No doubt, yeah, sometimes you do need to black out. That strongly influence choices about the management of family wealth in all its forms. In turn, these choices inform the family's need for certain kinds of wealth transition structures, governance systems, and role development plans. The external world brings a variety of forces to bear on the family wealth system. The family wealth system is an open system, meaning that it changes in response to external forces. Income and transfer taxes, as well as economic cycles, business exigencies, and pure luck affect the family wealth system. The typical family already has certain established structures in place when planning begins. And these must be accommodated and adapted as necessary. The process will generate new structures, including some that a family will grudgingly accept in order to adapt to external forces, such as credit shelter trusts to minimize estate taxes. The internal needs of a family may conflict with external forces, and the advisor must help the family balance these needs. A plan may go through many iterations as a family and its advisors address the conflicts among external forces, establish family structures, and the internal needs of its family members. Step 3, designing and implementing a family wealth transition plan. And ladies and gentlemen, if you're enjoying the content, make sure you hit that like, drop a comment, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you're made aware every time I release new content. And as always, share, share, share. Lastly, to contribute to channel growth or to schedule an appointment with a licensed financial professional, the links are in the description of this video. So once the advisor has an understanding of the family wealth system, it is possible to move into the next phase of the process, the creation of the plan. Answering the 4 fundamental questions of wealth transition in light of the information gleaned in Step 2 allows the advisor to develop plan components that meet a family's true needs. By answering the questions in Step 3, the advisor can check assumptions about the future state of components and connections and ensure that the plan takes into account the family's cycles of change and patterns of wealth behavior. So 4 fundamental questions. Most clients arrive at their advisor's office with some idea of their desires for wealth transition. They have thought about a provisional plan for addressing some of the 4 questions discussed in this section, and their estate planning advisor helps them to fill in the details. Question 1, what kinds of wealth are being transferred? Question 2, from and to whom will wealth be transferred, and will it pass inside or outside of the family? Question 3, when will the transitions occur? Now or later? Suddenly or gradually? Question 4, how will each transition occur? Will it be by gift, sale, or both? What conditions will be imposed upon the transition? How will the wealth be shared among the recipients, if at all? Prime example, like I said, if 10 of us came together and put a life insurance policy on the oldest member of the family for $1 million death benefit, right? And all 10 of us got to spend $100 each a month. And it's $1 million death benefit. So all 10 of us together, that's $1,000 each, right? And let's say we pay $1,000 a month for 10 years. That's $10,000, right? Mind you, that's basically $1,000 a year from 10 people for 10 years, right? So altogether, we've come up with 10 grand. Now, Aunt Shirley dies at the end of that 10 years. There's $1 million payout. So every person who paid $100 gets their 10% or $100,000. Now, if you put $100 a month away on your own in the bank account to get that, it would take you 1,000 months to get $100,000. How many years is 1,000 months? Because I know people that commit crimes get charged with like 360 months, which is 30 years. Because 36 months is 3 years. Football numbers, 360 months or 30 years. So it would take you 1,000 months to save $100,000 on your own. So, every experienced estate planning advisor is familiar with these questions. The advisor helps the client by listening to what is articulated and what is left unsaid, offering insight into the viability of different options, and explaining what other families do and why. While doing this, the estate planning advisor is testing the client's assumptions about wealth transition. The same is true in this methodology. However, family wealth transition planning advisors must take what they have discovered about the family wealth system in Step 2 into account in answering these questions. A thorough understanding of the family and its wealth system will often change the answers to these familiar questions, leading to a plan that is more likely to achieve family wealth continuity. The 3 components of a plan. So I'm just gonna read this last part, y'all, and then I'll come back later today and finish chapter one. Only because my nose is really clogged, and I gotta go take some medicine and probably take a little nap. But traditional estate planning focuses on the transactions and documents needed to facilitate transition, but often neglects the other key elements of successful wealth continuity. Traditional legal structures are important, but they form only a part of an overall plan. Family wealth transition planning has three different components: wealth transition structures, governance systems, and a plan for role clarity and development. The relative importance of each component will vary from family to family, and some families will need very little in the way of role clarity and development or governance. Business families, however, are likely to need all three components. The legal transition structures, such as trusts and wills, that traditional estate planning uses, are a part of the larger category in family wealth transition planning and are referred to as wealth transition structures. This category also includes non-legal forms of wealth transition because many of the methods of family issues to transfer wealth do not and should not create legal rights and duties. A grandfather teaching his granddaughter how to drive the tractor is as much a part of the process as a qualified personal residence trust, or QPRT, for the family farm. Yet the former is invisible as transition structure, at least to outsiders. The point is that the transfer of human and social capital doesn't happen without planning, and the purpose of family wealth transition planning is to anticipate transitions of this nature and put into place specific and appropriate support structures. So, prime example of something like that. My wife's side of the family, the women make these amazing sweet potato pies every Thanksgiving. But there's only a few of them who know the recipe. Now, my wife's brother has been trying his damnedest. They have different mothers, same father, to get this recipe. But he's not exactly part of my wife's family from her mother's side. So in that family transition wealth planning, part of the plan was nobody outside of us gets the fucking recipe. So that's a part of a wealth plan or transition plan. Because then they can take that recipe and they can actually create a business of those pies. Hold on, ladies and gentlemen. If you're enjoying the content, make sure you hit that like, drop a comment, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you're made aware every time I release new content. And as always, share, share, share. Lastly, to contribute to channel growth or to schedule an appointment with a licensed financial professional, the links are in the description of this video. Bear with me one moment, ladies and gentlemen. Just want to get a sip of water. So, governance systems are crucial to successful transition plans. Because wealth transferees are typically more numerous and more diverse than their predecessors. Transferees must often develop their own form of governance. What worked for fathers and mothers may not work for their children, especially when the siblings are far-flung and have diverse interests, capacities, and desires. Their levels of trust may differ significantly from those of their parents or grandparents, and their experiences will certainly differ. This is particularly true in the transition of business from one generation to another. As a result, for many families, government systems become an important component of the family wealth transition plan. Clarifying current roles and developing a plan for role development is a critical plan component, particularly when individuals participate in a family business in multiple roles. The transition of wealth changes those roles, requiring family members to be flexible and often to develop new skills and capacities. The three components of the family wealth transition process, role clarification and development, government systems, and wealth transition structures, are intimately connected. At times, a legal transition structure will require a certain governance system as well as help define roles for upcoming wealth transferees. For example, the creation and proper use of a limited liability company or LLC has the potential to serve all three functions. For most families, these three components in some combination will form the foundation of an enduring plan. A family's particular mix of core challenges will determine and prioritize the exact components the family needs. Putting the methodology to work. The Hernandez, Williams, and Marshall families are three fictional families struggling through the process of family wealth transition planning. Their stories will illustrate how an advisor can approach transition planning as a collaborative experience in which advisor and family have the common goal of family wealth continuity. The final transition plan, whatever it may be, must be rooted in a deep understanding of the family and its needs. It must be the result of the advisor's efforts to help the family learn about itself and its members' efforts to learn about each other by discovering their shared beliefs, assumptions, and values, as well as their differences and areas of potential conflict. Along the way, advisors may learn a great deal about themselves, which will strengthen their ability to assist future clients. For the less seasoned family wealth transition advisor, this book provides a roadmap for this experience and a guide to the intricate and often confusing pathways families take towards their goal. Expert family wealth transition advisors, however, will likely recognize parts of these processes as implicit in the way they already provide advice to clients, like me. For those advisors, placing these parts in the context of a larger methodology may assist them in developing plans that are more effective and in overcoming barriers to family wealth transition planning. So, for example, me as an experienced advisor, it gets frustrating as fuck, right? I work on 100% commission, meaning if you don't do business with me, I don't make money. But I have people in my family and my wife's family who are like, oh, well, why aren't you here or there or there? And I'm like, well, you stupid motherfucker, because you're not doing business with me. But you say you want me to do A, B, C, X, Y, Z. Well, you stupid motherfucker, if you do business with me, I'm going to obviously look out for your best interest. But when I say that and call them a stupid motherfucker to their face, I'm the asshole, even though I've been the stupid motherfucker behind my back my whole career. Right? Meanwhile, I'm the stupid motherfucker who can't help my own family because my own family is full of stupid motherfuckers who won't listen to me. But I got other motherfuckers who, from this space, are putting $20,000 a year in their life insurance. One guy, like I told you, my cousin, who's being a stupid motherfucker and won't sit down and listen to me. I got one guy who's making $200,000 who put $68,000 into an IRA, so I saved him $68,000 there. Put $20,000 into a life insurance policy, so I saved him $88,000 this year on taxes. But see, we also have the issue in family of not trusting pocket watch. But instead of looking at me like little Lonzy, because when I was doing theater, y'all motherfuckers didn't say that. When y'all wanted me to be this fake ass Christian fucking pastor, when I was doing the eulogy at my Uncle Kenny's funeral, oh, you missed your calling. You should be a pastor. I don't believe in that hocus pocus bullshit. Excuse me if you're religious, but I'm not. I believe in the transfer of energy. So for me, my calling was not being a pastor. My calling was teaching you guys this. I went to school for music and sound recording and fell in love with economics. I can teach my family a whole bunch about economics. But I even had Thanksgiving at my house. Say, hey, let me talk to y'all about life insurance. I know all I need to know about life insurance. Same family member. Yeah, I'm putting niggas' business out in the street. Why not? Family member went and got arrested. All the family of mine who suddenly thought I was broke, now that this nigga needs $20,000 to get out of jail for carrying a gun, I'm the first nigga they call. Well, excuse the fuck out of me. You could have had your own bail at $20 a month on a life insurance policy had you sat down with me, set it up. You'd have had that money. You don't need a business loan. You wouldn't need none of that shit. But the insurance agent that you're talking to right now, Durham Woodford over in State Farm, told you to buy 4 policies and maybe you'll get $1 million. Just like the agent at State Farm that I worked for had my mom buying a life insurance policy of a $50,000 death benefit that built cash value. My mama thought she was going to get $50,000. Because those people don't give a fuck about you. They care about their commission. I care about my commission too, but I give a fuck about you because you're my family. But I can't give a fuck about you because you don't give a fuck about me. Again, that's that issue in the family. Right? And that's that lack of trust. So anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to stop short here. Well, let me read one more paragraph. Because it's going to make sense about these families. And then when I come back later tonight, I'll do some more. Measuring the success of family wealth transition planning. Remember, there are 3 fictional families: the Hernandez family, the Williams family, and the Marshall family. Although family wealth continuity is the overall goal of transition planning, the components of family wealth continuity may be difficult for individual family members to measure in the short term. For that reason, it is helpful to set specific individual and family goals related to the family's wealth transition plan. These goals can involve finding the answers to the 4 questions above, implementing governance or legal transfer structures, and creating individual role development plans. Goals should be specific and measurable, including both distinct action items and measurement criteria. The family and advisor should identify the resources necessary for achieving the goal, which may include time, training, commitment, and financial resources, among others. Each should have a definite timeline. All goals should be measured against the ultimate objectives of the family wealth continuity plan. If the goal is accomplished, is the family wealth system more likely to create healthy family relationships, responsible stewardship of wealth, and a desirable family legacy? The difficulty of planning for business families. The perspectives and methodology described thus far apply to all families of wealth, regardless of their kind or level of wealth. This book, however, focuses on one kind of client, the business family. In some business family, members may work side by side 24 hours a day in the business. In others, family members might be board members, beneficiaries of a trust owning stock in a company, or employees of the family company. Whatever their members' level of participation in the operating business, these families face specific challenges of family wealth transition planning, including the following, which later chapters will discuss in detail. Business families tend to hold all their eggs in one basket, making them vulnerable to change both inside and outside the family wealth system. Cashing out a business is difficult, and this illiquidity often both prevents change and ties family members together. So oftentimes what happens is people don't be wanting to be in Aunt Sally's macaroni biz, but they can't afford to buy out. So they got to work it. Many components of the family wealth system. Business wealth is often most valuable when shared, and families share that wealth in ways that rarely follow the patterns of non-family businesses. Many components of the family wealth system, both people and assets, have an intricate connection to the operating business. Again, I don't have that issue, but prime example, my cousin has a barber shop. So his assets are the physical assets, the barber chairs, the alcohol, the tissue, the barber saw, the clippers, the hair dye, all that shit. If he's stuck with a bunch of that, he can't literally just sell that because he sells the haircuts, right? He doesn't sell barber chairs. The operating business is vulnerable not only to the cycles of change experienced by all individuals and families, but also to the effects of the business life cycle. Many components of the family wealth system. Oh, I already read that. I'm sorry. When a business changes hands, the members of the transferee generation are likely to have different kinds of involvement with the business than their predecessors, raising governance questions as well as ambiguity about what is fair in wealth transition. So, again, my cousin owns a barbershop. Eventually, he wants to not have to physically be there and cut. But let's say he passes it down to his daughter. She don't want to do none of this shit. So she'll probably just, fuck this, I'm selling it. So his intent of, I'm going to pass it down and just live off of the assets, that shit sounds nice, my nigga. Because we've had this conversation. I literally had to say, bro, you know who you're talking to. He was like, I've been doing this for 7 years. I do this every day, bro. Just like, I've been cutting my own hair for years, but you do it every day, bro. So the 7 years of haircuts I give me pales in comparison to the 1 day of haircuts that you've given many people. You does this, cuz. Well, I does this, cuz. So let me stay in my lane and you stay in yours. Let's come together like Voltron and actually get this shit together for the family. Instead of trying to be too prideful and boastful and thinking dumb shit like Jay-Z don't use a financial advisor. My nigga. Really? So, again, you're also going to have the fact that transferees are often unprepared for new roles, and transferors often have difficulty letting go of old roles. Compared with liquid investments, businesses are particularly vulnerable to complex external forces such as changing tax and economic environments. Business families tend to mix business and personal relationships within the business and use the business to attain non-business objectives. Business families bring their long-standing patterns of behavior to bear on the business, which affect both decision-making within the business and wealth transition decisions. Prime example, I probably can't be the advisor who does our family wealth transition plan, but I have advisors who work under me who I can have do that. So I can look objectively. For many business families, the business is much more than a financial asset, is a significant part, if not all, of their family legacy. Right? Prime example, I was trying to do family transition planning because my cousin barbershop is the all-star lineup. So I was like, cool, I'll call myself the all-star advisor. Let's merge together. It ain't quite working that way. Right? The niggas in the shop be like, oh, you the all-star financial... Nigga, I ain't sat down with not a single one of y'all niggas. Miss me with the bullshit. Y'all all grown men and y'all all 1099 self-employed. I can show y'all disability insurance so that when you got a sore shoulder, you don't have to come in and cut hair. I can show you long-term care. I can show you your 401k and all that shit. But you got to sit down with the advisor. You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. Any of these challenges can cause the family wealth transition process for a business family to fail. While experienced advisors are alert for the signs of these problems, it is difficult to address them piecemeal. The methodology detailed in this book offers a systematic approach to the problems complexity causes in business families so that the family wealth transition plan advisor can create wealth transition structures, governance systems, and role development plans that will ensure family wealth continuity for their clients. So again, I shouldn't even be harping on my cousin's business because, like I said, my family failed 100 years ago. He shouldn't be the only fucking business. My other cousin shouldn't be asking my mother-in-law for a business loan to start her shit. We should have a family trust. But again, nobody's going to listen to the nigga because I'm not driving a Beamer, Benz, or Bentley. I don't wear my money. Right? Fucking Jeff Bezos drives a fucking Honda Accord. But everybody sucks his multi-billion-dollar dick. So, the process for the three families. So, I'm going to read this, and then I'm going to stop, y'all, because I've been going for almost 2 hours. Actually, you know what? I'm going to stop here because I'm going to go take me a break and get me some medicine. Ladies and gentlemen, if you enjoyed the content, make sure you hit that like, drop a comment, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you're made aware every time I release new content. And as always, share, share, share. Lastly, to contribute to channel growth or to schedule an appointment with a licensed financial professional, the links are in the description of this video. To create a do-it-yourself financial plan, the link is in the description of this video. To buy life insurance directly without any interaction from anyone, which is kind of stupid. That's like saying I'm going to go get a tattoo without a tattoo artist and let the computer tattoo me and not give the expert opinion. I'll give you guys an example, right? Give you guys an example. I have this here AK-47 tattooed on my stomach. When I sat with the tattoo artist about this, he was like, "Are you sure you want to do that? Maybe you want to get it on like your forearm or something." Now, ultimately, it is my decision, but this is the importance of going with the professional who does that. Because he was like, "I don't think you're really going to want to have that on your stomach. You're 22 right now. When you're 32 and 42, you're probably not going to want to walk around with an AK-47 on your stomach. Let me put it on your forearm." "Nah, man, I know what I want for the rest of my life, dude. I'm 22. Well, guess what? At 40, where I'm at now, I fucking hate this shit. So at any rate, ladies and gentlemen, with that being said, wipe ass. Work in progress every day and see success. Wipe ass. Work in progress every day and see success. Wipe ass. Work in progress every day and see success. And remember, ladies and gentlemen, when people challenge you, they don't challenge you to challenge you, but they challenge you to challenge you. Accept the challenge. Salute.